So we're talking about finding deals.
Yep, we're still talking about finding deals.
How do we find deals?
So for us, in our experience, whenever it doesn't matter what part of the transaction you're involved in, you're always asking whoever you're involved with if they know of anybody selling or buying properties when you're doing it. So like title companies. So title companies, which I love, is their job is to get your business, right? So one of the things that we do is they have their own specific marketing
What
departments.
do they do?
The title companies?
Yeah. Why do they want our business?
They help close the transaction. They help ensure that title's clean. They handle all the money and all the escrow and all the stuff that goes through. They're not.
Do they do that for free?
No, they get paid.
Oh, so we pay them. So
Yep.
that's why they want our business.
Depends.
Title insurance, inspecting the property for liens.
Yep.
And then have you ever done like a consecutive closing or conditional closing where you want to buy something and you also have to put up another property and you have to ensure the seller that you're not going to cheat them out of something. Yep. So you go to title, and title's that neutral party that promises the buyer and the seller that this is going to record and you're going to get the property, and then this is going to record and you're going to get the guarantee. And they do that and they guarantee that both things are going to happen. So they're a go-between and they charge for that. Yep. Another thing title companies do is they collect payment. So when I enter into a private purchase, I go to the title company, I say, hey, set up the escrow account for me and do the payment management for me. So I can pay you once a month, and then you take that payment, you record it. If there's principal and interest involved, you deduct it from the principal, and then you mail it to the seller. So I paid you, you recorded it, you mailed it to him, and then also to provide for accounting, right? Yep. So at the end of the year, there's a 1099 issued, and everyone's happy. And we get an end of the year mortgage statement that we use for our banking. So title companies have great value. As far as finding a deal, why do they want to help us find a deal? Because we give them our business, yep. Right? So how do they help us find a deal?
So a lot of title companies have, when you're talking with title companies, ask them if they have a marketing department. So you go to their marketing department and say, hey, I want a list of every property in the Southwest, right? Let's say Southwest of Arizona, that are 100 properties or less. And I want a list of every single owner and
100 units.
all their information for that deal, for that area.
So this is back to lists and skip
yes.
tracing.
So
the title company might do that for us?
They'll actually, most title companies, if you get the relationship, they will do it for you for free. They'll also sometimes, if you have a good relationship, which we do because we do a lot of business with them, is you might have questions regarding the preliminary title, like who owns the property. They might have chains and how much debt is on the property. Maybe you're looking at a property to buy and you find out, okay, this property's free and clear, and the owner is, Tom Cockburn, let's say, and he's 80 years old, and he has a free and clear property, and we probably know that he might want to just get income and not have to deal with that property anymore.
So that's finding a deal,
yep.
And that's how you find a deal through the title company. CPAs. So that's a tough one. We'll just touch on it and go, but I have a great relationship with my CPA. If my CPA knows of anybody that has property for sale or wants to buy property, it's just a conversation to be had. So it's good to know what CPAs in Yuma deal with real estate and what CPA in Yuma might have a certain property manager's business, whatever the case is. It's just a relationship. That's all it is.
So in regards to CPAs, the one thing that I do about finding deals is there's tons of CPAs that have sellers that either need to sell, maybe they have a probate deal or something.
Probate's coming up, so don't give that away.
I know, I'm not giving that away. They need to sell or they need to buy a property because they're 1031 exchange.
Great angle.
So yeah, so
that's a great angle.
So if they need to buy a property because they sold something and they know, guess what? You're a deal guy. You're out there in the market. You're finding deals. You have opportunities for deals. You might find off-market deals. So those CPAs might come to you and say, hey, Eric, I have a client that has a tax issue and they need to buy something or identify something in the next 45 days.
So you can see that we come at this business from different angles. Yeah. I'm always trying to buy. He's always trying to sell. but we use our CPA. Our CPA knows us for our strengths.
But the other thing that the CPAs have when you're talking about finding deals, you might have someone that has a deal, they have the money, but they could become your partner. They could become a general partner or a limited partner in a deal that they own, or they might be.
Or what else could they become? Key principal.
Yes.
Remember, when you go to take over a Fannie or a Freddie property, if you have somebody that identifies the property, you have somebody that already qualifies the deal, they have maybe even the finances to take it over. But when you call that capital company or that, not the capital company, when you call Fannie or Freddie, the loan servicer, and you say, I've identified this property, I have the money to take it over, and they're going to say, well, what's your experience in property management? And if this person is new to property management, no matter how much money they have, they need to have a key principal. Mm-hmm. And we talked about key principals earlier, but you can come into these deals as a key principal. So that's where your CPA can maybe help you find a deal.
The CPAs have access to all, they know their clients that are making money, that need to place money and want to make more money, right?
Right. And we all want to make more money.
Yep.
What about attorneys and probate? I have a great story. So a lot of our business is built on relationships. We talk about relationships a lot. We try to have the best relationship we can, from cradle to grave. So we want to take care of our tenants. When we move someone in, we want to get that person moved in and integrated into our financing programs and into our maintenance programs as quick as we can. We have people that we work with for maintenance and buying supplies and just in every asset of our business, the relationships, the way we treat those people and the way we appreciate those people, the way we pay our bills on time or even in advance. Those people are out there working hard for us, so we want to keep those relationships up. So I can tell you a story about my plumber. When I first started in about 2011, I didn't have any experience in plumbing at all. I mean, it was all, for me, I came from the automotive industry, so plumbing was completely new to me. So I hired a plumber, and he's a great guy. He's a great service plumber. Anytime I have a problem, he's out there right away. He takes care of it. But the good thing about him is he's taught me everything he's done along the way. And I always encourage that you really dig into what's going on so you can learn these things, not specifically so you can be out there doing the repairs, but so you know the process. My plumber doesn't own a camera, and I talked about cameras earlier. You'll get plumbers that every time you call them, they want to upsell you. You just have a plugged toilet, and a regular service call should be $40, but they want to sell you the moon, and they want you to pay them $1,000 to come in because your whole plumbing system is ruined. So having relationships with good people, learning the process, this does relate to finding deals. My plumber one day called me up out of the blue and said, hey, I have someone that wants to sell some property. And I said, what do you mean? And he does a lot of multifamily. So he said, yeah, there's these 17 units over here, these 16 units over there. And the guy just mentioned to me that he was thinking about selling. And I know that you're always looking to buy. So basically, that was one phone call. We called the guy and said, we want to buy your property. And he said, okay, we'll get back to you. And I said, we're ready today. What do we need to do to buy your property? And he said, well, I really hadn't thought about it. And I said, well, put a number on it. I'll put a number on it if you don't want to, but we want to buy this today. And we had that property wrapped up and under contract within that same week. So we got a great lead from our plumber. I've got some bad leads from people too, but they're still leads. That's awesome. Every time anyone wants to do anything, I want them to think about me. I only do multifamily, but I had someone reach out to me that I help in multifamily, that I help place some of their client. And they said, hey, I know you have a lot of real estate. I have a house I want to sell. My mom passed away and I moved in and I just need to get out of there. And so she wholesaled the house to me and I didn't know what to do with it. So I wholesaled it out to someone else. But those are all relationships in all aspects, in banking, in repairs and maintenance. Everything you do, you're building a relationship with people, and those people are going to know you for as being in real estate. So be ready.
One of the things that real quick in regards to that is Tom has helped me in all aspects of this business on the questions to ask all your contractors so you don't get ripped off. That's what they do. But if you know the questions to ask,
not all of them, right? Because we have good ones.
Yeah,
but being involved.
If you're involved and you know the questions to ask, so we'll have a resource page on the questions to ask your contractors. If it's a plumber, electrician, landscapers, roofers, whatever, those questions are super important. But I want to just tell you one quick question about a roofer. So my roofer, he's doing a large rent-to-own community. So we're in 2021 right now, and there's a lot of investors out there building rental communities that are single-family homes, like multifamily, but they're converting them into single-family home rental communities, right? So we just so happen to have a friend that's in our group, right, who's in our network that needs to buy an $18 million property. Well, I just call my contractor buddy, who's a roofer, and I says, hey, because if he's in the roofing stage, he's probably at the stage where the properties are going to be close to complete, right? So I text him this morning. I says, hey man, do you have, I know that you do a lot of communities for roofing communities. I go, do you have any rental communities you're doing right now? And if you do, can you let me know? He says, yes, I do have a rental community. It is. And then I told him where stage it is and how many units. That's just a relationship with this could be a massive deal by just one simple roofing contractor.
Sure.
Massive deal.
All your trades know everything that's going on and they all talk. So that's important. All right. Attorneys and probate. Have you ever bought from an attorney or have you ever bought from an estate? I'm from a smaller town and all the probate goes through one attorney and he pretty much buys it all. And he has maybe one or two people that he might share some deals with, but he's got the market wrapped up pretty well. So in a bigger market or maybe in your personal market.
Here's the thing. The attorneys is one and your probate attorneys are the other. So probate, so we have what they call the dead person list, okay? So we're constantly marketing to people that pass away into their estate, okay? Right. Now, multifamily, a lot of times, you have estates, they have to sell their large apartment buildings, right? And so what we do, this is the best tip ever, okay? Always network with the attorneys and let them know you're buying multifamily, okay? That you're an investor, you're always looking to buy. If someone needs to sell, do that, right? So here's what we do. This is the tip of the day, okay? Call up the probate attorneys in your area and set up a consulting appointment. And they typically charge anywhere from $200 to $500, okay? Sure. And for an hour. Yeah. And so you're gonna go in there and you're gonna tell them, this is what you do, and you're gonna make your life easy. And if anybody ever needs to sell their property through probate or whatever, you will pay all the attorney's fees. Yeah. You will pay all the seller's fees. You'll pay everything. Right. And you'll just make it so easy. And not only that, they're probably gonna have some issues divvying up the money. They're going to have issues with cleaning up the property. They're going to have a lot of stuff. When it comes to probate, there's a lot of moving parts. But if they have a one-stop shop to call and make their life easy, not only do the attorneys love it, because guess what? They can charge us whatever they want, okay, within reason. The sellers love it because guess what? The buyer's paying taking your problem away and paying all the payments. Guess how many times that we've met with the probate attorneys and they've charged us that consulting fee?
They don't charge you, right?
Zero, because you go in offering to pay them and they're like, oh my God, I have the right guy now. Right. And then obviously you show them that you're credible and all this stuff. But I'm telling you, in this course and what you guys are doing here, that tip alone will pay for anything that you guys ever do in our program by just marketing to probate attorneys in any market.
And that's another relationship.
Yep. So that's how you get deals.
What do you know about REOs? Do you know what REO stands for?
Real estate owned.
And real estate owned. Why is REO? Why is it REO? Where is it REO? Where does the term REO appear? Because it's very specific.
I don't know. I forget.
So it appears on a bank's balance sheet.
Oh yeah, real estate owned.
That's why I never could make the connection.
Yeah.
Like, how is it REO if it's for sale or in distress?
Ask that again.
So yeah, there you go. So what is what does REO stand for?
Real estate owned.
And why is it real estate owned?
Because the bank took over the property and they own the property.
Oh, so when the bank looks at its balance sheet, there's a line that says real estate owned. I get it now. So what's your experience with REO?
What do banks not do?
Banks do not want to own property.
They do not want to own property.
They don't want to operate property.
Yeah, none of that stuff.
Sure.
And so it's real important, especially in our market today, is getting the relationships with banks, letting them know you are a buyer of that real estate. So you get a heads up on what's coming up. Because there's, as we know in 2021, with COVID and all the stuff going on, there's going to be some issues with tenants. There's going to be some issues.
Hopefully not with multifamily.
Not with your tenants.
Well, no. I have no issues. My tenants are great.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there's going to be some operators that have problems.
Yeah, I've read in the news that mom and pops are really going to take a beating.
They could.
Have you seen any of that yet?
We're seeing some happening. Right
So we're hearing right now that the larger companies might do okay. Again, remember when we talked about having a 50% occupancy and how that can keep you breaking even versus the single family model where one property vacant can wipe you out. So mom and pops might only own a duplex or a couple triplexes, and they might have a few tenants in there where they're just not managing the property, they're just not getting the assistance, and they're going to end up losing property. But as far as finding deals, REOs, have you ever had an REO experience from a bank? Did you buy anything that was REO? Have you ever been close?
I'll give you an example right now. Is I also have notes, and in our notes we have multifamily, and in that multifamily I bought an entire pool of notes with multifamily in it from a bank at a massive discount because they're in 23 different states.
Awesome.
That is an opportunity, and got a really, really, really good deal on it. So
you have bought REO?
Tons.
So when you're buying the note, you're buying REO. I mean, the note is the property. Okay, now ask me.
So Tom, have you ever bought any bank-owned properties, REO properties before?
Or was I close?
Or were you close?
So one of the best deals we ever got, I'm glad you asked, by the way. Yeah. One of the best deals we ever got was, this is the process. You know this already. So you sign a loan with a bank and you promise to take care of the property and you promise to pay your payments and do all the things. And there's a clause in there that says if you start to fail, the performance of any of those things starts to suffer, the bank can take your property and you still own it, but they can place it into what's called conservatorship. Okay.
Or receivership.
Yep. I think that's a commercial or residential term. I'm not sure. But I believe those are the same terms.
Yes.
So a property that we bought in our partnership had been taken, the ownership had been still, the seller still owned it, but it had been placed into receivership. So basically what happened was they told the guy, you're not allowed to talk to any tenants anymore, and you're not allowed to collect rent, you're not allowed to rent apartments, give us all the keys. We're taking control of the property. So he still owned it, but they took control over it and they started the foreclosure procedure. And so this property was almost done. It was going into foreclosure. So we stepped in at that time and we said, hey, we want to buy this property. And they'd been down that road a few times already. Sellers or buyers had come in, kicked the tires, weren't able to perform. And they were actually down to the wire where when we proved to them that we were serious, we had to actually send a letter to the attorney and say, hey, is there any way that you can talk and this was to the bank's attorney. So us, the buyer, reached out to the seller's bank's lawyer and said, is there any way that you can delay this thing 30 days? We have a signed purchase agreement. We have we have the signed purchase agreement. We have proof of funds. We've deposited earnest money with the realtor that's involved for the seller. And the attorney said, yeah, we'll give you 30 days, right? They said, yeah, we'll stop it for 30 days. So that was one of the best deals we ever got, and it had the most upside. It was 41 units, and it was in Fremont. It was probably an A, B location. And out of 41 units, when we went in to do our inspection, they actually had an armed, was the security guard there armed? I can't remember. But it definitely had a security guard, had all the keys. and kind of walked us around the property and, let us in. And it's the worst inspection I've ever been on, by the way. We opened doors to units where looked like the people were evicted and the locks were changed and the door was never opened again. I'm talking about refrigerators full of food and power might be on or off. We went in a unit that we just called the feces unit. Just had animal feces everywhere. Looked like they locked a dog in each room. And so that property, for us, that was one of the best deals we ever bought because there was so much upside.
Those are, just so you guys know, are the best deals. So
we're going to start with the action items, try to wrap up this module. One of the things we want to do, and this again came from, I believe from Rich Dad, and I've seen it from other gurus as well, but it is an action, and I've had students, mentees of mine that I've given them this assignment. The first thing they say is you need to analyze 100 properties. You need to look at 100 properties. You need to make offers on 10 of those properties. And hopefully through the process of looking at 100, making offers on 10, you're going to get one deal. And that you could speak to how many deals you've looked at versus how many offers you've made versus how many deals you've closed. So just to recap, Module 3, action plans. Get on that email list. We talked about getting on one with a broker or realtor. You can also sign up at realtor.com. Every time a multifamily comes listed, they'll send you an email. Zillow.
Yep.
Redfin. I've used Redfin. I don't know. LoopNet. I've gotten on the LoopNet email list. Something we didn't talk about a lot, but something that I'm starting to do personally. Try to look outside of the city you're in. Try to look outside your area. We had a great friend that had a lot of success with real estate in Arizona and kind of went through some troubles and trials and tribulations during the crash. And he reached way out to his parents' home state of Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
So, and he jumped right into Wisconsin, treated it like it was his hometown and had great success. So think about friends, family, where else can you go and do what you do? Mail, call, text. We talked about all that. Talk to the agents, recapping about title companies, attorneys, and then final action plan is look at 100 deals, make 10 offers, and find one deal that you're going to buy.
Yep. Module 3 recap is finding the deals, how to find off-market deals nobody else knows about, how to get the right agent and brokers on board to find great investments, our top 10 favorite internet resources to find great cash flowing properties, which you guys know about that we went through. And there are an unlimited amount of deals and never ending flow of opportunities. So here's the thing. You just got to let everybody know what you're doing.
Sure.
And you can, honestly, you can manifest this stuff.
It really is never ending. Yeah. I read a book a million years ago. Okay, got this book. It's called How to Buy Apartments or something. Great book, $4 probably. Got to the end, and the guy put his name and his phone number in that book. And I told that story earlier that I went to the bank, and the bank kind of kicked me out the door and said, come back when you have some money. So I went and got that book, or I probably had it in my pocket, opened it to the last page, called this guy. Right then, right at that moment of failure, I was still looking for a mentor. So I called him, and I told him, hey, I did what your book says. I went to the bank and they told me no. And guess what he told me?
What did he tell you?
He said, just what you just said. There's a never-ending, unlimited deal or a flow of deals out there and opportunities. And for me, it just crushed me. And it took me, months to work up to this and make an offer. And this bank just destroyed me. And this guy, to him, it was no big deal. He said, just make another offer.
Yeah.
And I was looking for some words of wisdom. But the truth is, there's a never-ending flow of deals and opportunities.
And then, but the other side of it is, back then, you didn't have a Facebook group. You didn't have a mastermind. You didn't have a mentor that you could literally get a hold of if you join our group to have the questions and your questions answered.
Yeah, we might have been able to help me back then.
God, it would have been a no-brainer.
We'd have had that deal.
I mean, that's part of the deal. So
8 steps to your multifamily investing success. Step 1 was commit to a change.
Step 2, getting ready to buy.
And number 3, finding a deal. We're getting started with module 4 next. Remember to get the most out of the program, to be sure to join us on our Facebook group and to hop on our coaching calls. We're here to support you. Also, remember to use that searchy function so you can get the answer to any question super fast. Let's build freedom and cash flow together. We'll see you in module 4.